Excuse me, guys. Can I have your attention, everybody? We're just going to have a few words. If you wouldn't mind giving us your attention for a minute.
Thank you very much. Very good evening, everyone, and we welcome you to the pavilion on behalf of Jim and Claire and their family for a farewell for James. This evening is an opportunity to give thanks and to reflect, to support Jim and Claire and their family as we look back on James's life and share stories. And my name is Alex, by the way. Good to see you this evening. I'm going to hand over straight away to Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. That was a good job you did today. Really appreciate it. I wrote something here, and it sort of just grew legs. James, obviously, a lot of you knew James to see him, and you know he was a special sort of lad who had an intriguing personality. But maybe many of you, some of you might know, but many of you won't know actually kind of his sort of life story and how it all transpired. So I started to write a few things down. I hope it doesn't go on too long. Stop me if I'm gassing on. But anyway, so James was born 11th of November 1990 in St Vincent's Hospital in Hanau, near Frankfurt. I was working for Cathay at the time. The pregnancy and the birth were normal. In Germany, they carry out quite a lot of... Sorry. Thank you for the critique over there. Anyone else? There were regular ultrasounds, and that meant that things were progressing normally. There was nothing unusual happening, and there was nothing to give us any hint of what lay ahead. Immediately after he was born, it was apparent that he had some problems, but we were not really given any diagnosis then, and for any time in his life. It was a unique thing he had. He was a bit of an enigma, to say the least. The first few months proved to be so challenging to deal with it, being away from the UK. We ended up heading back to the UK, and I luckily got a job back at Cathay. So I was working for Cathay in Frankfurt, and then I rejoined Cathay in the UK. Despite visits to Great Ormond Street, Radcliffe in Oxford, there was no diagnosis for his condition. And at the time, we were informed that this is not uncommon. Something like 50% of kids who go to Great Ormond Street are actually undiagnosed, which was quite a surprise to us. We were obviously trying to deal with that. And we'd never heard of anyone really in a similar situation, though. So, it was something that was unique to us, it appeared. The best advice that we received from a specialist doctor in Ascot, which is close to where we lived, was to not focus on what the problem was, but to accept him as he was. And that sat well with us. So we set out to keep him as happy and as healthy as we could and bring him on for the ride. We did try to fix him in those early years. We embarked on a very ambitious program targeting his diet, physical health, and academic learning. We visited a place called St Breville's in Monmouth, near Wales, and they reviewed him and us, and they gave us a very intensive program, which mainly changed his diet, and that proved to be the biggest effect that we had. But there was also support for exercise and sensory stimulation that we undertook. All of this required about 30 hours a week with him, 7 days a week. And this was a daunting task, so we decided to enlist people around the world. And I'm not sure if anyone in the UK is actually listening to this, but there was a lot of very, very great people, friends, family, who showed up to help us with that. The response from the local community where we lived, after we advertised in the local newspaper, because of course there was no social media back then, these people would turn up for about, as I say, we ended up with about 30 people, including friends and family, so it was amazing. James brought all of those people together, and we have lifelong friends from that time. There are so many people that we owe massive thanks to, and many remain dear friends to this day. The main benefits of the program from this was the dietary change, cutting out a large array of foods that were deemed to have an impact on his well-being, not allergic reactions, but intolerances. That was what worked. Almost overnight, his retention of food improved dramatically, and he started to climb the growth charts, albeit off the normal scale. There was a limited success with the development of motor skills and responses, but there were moments that gave us hope. He did learn to crawl commando style, and I saw him clap hands at least once or twice on command. So there was something there, but it was difficult to get the response we wanted. He could also sit up in his early years, and for a while we had him in a walking frame. There was probably a photo on there that you might have seen, that he could propel himself around on as long as the floor was pretty smooth. The program was intense, initially 7 days a week, as I said, and despite all the help we were getting, it really took its toll on Claire. She was shouldered with overseeing most of the activities while I was working, shift work as well. So in the end, we started to reduce the number of days and hours gradually over time. And then in the end, with school placement available, we dropped the program. And obviously went to school, and the school was great. In those early years, James did suffer a number of illnesses. Obviously, as he grew, there were imperfections that emerged with which specialists were trying to fix or at least reduce the effects of. The best piece of advice, I already said that. Yeah, keep going. James spent a lot of time crawling and rolling around on the floor, and the idea was to give him as much freedom as possible. We actually had it, instead of a bed, we had like a soft floor mat for him to play on and sleep in. But of course, that had some perils. We had to be careful not to let him get things that he shouldn't get, because pretty much everything went into his mouth. So, as normal practice for us engineers, there's usually at least one legendary story involving poo. As I said, he was crawling around all right. So James could sit up unsupported reasonably well early on. So we would often put him and Daniela into the bath together for a bit of splashing time. And the problem was that warm water had a relaxing effect on his bowels. And he would at some point during that bath have a bowel movement. So we only really had a short pre-warning when this was about to happen, and so we often had to carry out an emergency evacuation drill for Daniela. Then we would proceed to clean up the mess, or I would, as it was usually my job on that. So, as you can imagine, removing that stuff from the bath is not the most desirable job in the world. And a couple of times I just used a handheld shower to kind of flush it all down the hole, thinking I was doing the right thing. But one day this thing just would not dissolve. I prodded it, I pushed it, and then I realised to my amazement that actually it was wrapped in a baby wipe. So this thing was, it was like completely wrapped in a baby wipe. So he'd obviously got hold of it. So I still credit James to this day as the only human to have a self-cleaning backside. As he got bigger, though, his scoliosis developed, and sadly, following a few months of confinement in a plaster cast body brace, it was pretty nasty. James lost the ability, or at least the desire, to move under his own steam. But he always loved simple things in our world, like coloured lights and things that he could roll around his fingers. And most of all, he loved his food. As many of you will have seen down at the poolside there, he could eat for England. Eventually, though, he ate all the right things, no more baby wipes, which was good because the balanced diet meant he was pretty healthy, and I think that's probably what contributed to his longevity in the end. We'll never know what he was really thinking. He never did master the art of speech communication. Rarely did he make any sounds that you might think he was trying to form a word. But we knew when he was happy, sad, frustrated, scared, or in pain, or hungry. And I have to say, I hated it most when he was in pain, and we didn't know where he hurt. That was really tough. Sometimes we worked it out. There was one journey to England where we were on a Cathay flight, and we were about 2 or 3 hours from landing in London early morning. James woke up from sleep, and he was in a bit of discomfort, and there was a suggestion, basically, that he had developed asthma in those years, but I wasn't really convinced. So anyway, he was having a bit of difficulty breathing, and he was refusing liquids in the flight there. So he also had a bit of a fever, and I guess it was more like a sore throat, so maybe tonsillitis. James was starting to look a bit distressed, so I thought I'd ask the stewardess for some therapeutic oxygen. And this, of course, started a bit of a panic, as some of our pilot friends here might know. When the oxygen's called for, there's trouble, and they wanted to divert to Amsterdam. The captain actually came back to ask me, and I said, no, we're going to Heathrow, don't worry about it. I think he's fine. Just give me the oxygen, and we'll be good. And of course, when we did land, the staff there were brilliant. We got taken to Ellington Hospital,
They
which is about.
actually put on the tannoy, didn't they?
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
the first time I've ever heard it in real life. Is there a doctor?
Yeah, I missed that bit out actually. They put it over the PA. It was a bit like a scene from Airplane. We had all sorts of people. There was this one lady. She was really trying to be nice, but she wanted to massage his neck, and he hated being touched his neck. It just made it worse.
That was the first one. The second one had a spanner.
Yeah, and then there was a slap. Yeah.
There was somebody that was a Chinese herbalist who
Yeah.
thought they could help, and then this massage therapist.
So in the end, I kind of shooed all away, and we made it in one piece. And in fact, I haven't written this down, but when you turned up at the airport there without me and James, my family met us there, and they were like, oh, and no one had realised I wasn't there, so they had to come to England and pick me up with James. You may think that living with a special needs person is always difficult and never-ending world of hurt, but James wasn't like that. He was really special among the special ones. He never complained about anything. He never expected anything. He was content with the cards he was dealt, and he managed things his own way. He was not a demanding person, and he enjoyed being out and about, meeting new people and taking in his surroundings. The placid nature that he had allowed us and our kids to live as normal a life as possible under those circumstances. Having our 4 other amazing children, of course, is also an important factor in managing the situation. Daniela, Toby, Sam, and Rosie have turned out to be fine human beings, and we're really, really proud of them. And it's in part due to their experiences of living with James and, us as a group growing together with those difficulties. So all of them have been very understanding and patient, cooperative people, which has given us and James a beautiful experience. I think the learning for all of us, my family and friends, that when life gets stressful and you feel out of control, focus on the things that you can control and the things that you're good at. Your response to a situation can put you back in control. Easier said than done, and 31 years of living with a special needs person gives us some of that experience. As you know, James loved being pitch side. He was a regular at many of the football and rugby matches that our children and I have been involved in over the last 20 years. He's seen some great sights, I can tell you. James witnessed the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the full spectrum of emotions when matches went well and when things didn't go so well. And I'd say he was pretty qualified as a critic on and off the field for behaviour, and probably learned a few choice words along the way. James provided a reminder that when things are not going so well on the field, it's just, in the end, it's just a game and another lesson in life, and that there are more important things that we should focus on. My family and I, and all of you that are here today, and those around us, and those around the world, near and far, in England, you've all been part of our lives, and we're humbled by your friendship and your compassion. You've all contributed in so many ways to giving us and James the best life he could have expected. Thank you to all the health professionals, school teachers and their assistants in England and in Sarah Rose School. Mike Doherty was here earlier. He's a major player in this, in me coming to Hong Kong. I can't thank him enough. You did an amazing job for our son. I know you continue to apply those special skills and dedication to all the special needs people that you give your time to. It's a noble calling, and you should receive the highest praise. A very special group of people that need to be recognised at this time as well. Those people who worked for my family and gave so much of their time to James to enable us to function normally. You made our lives so much easier. We cannot thank you enough. In 25 years of living in Hong Kong, James was cared for by our friends from the Philippines, Tess, Miena, Jackie, Belle, Sky, Ronaldo, and of course Raul. And Raul was with James when he went, and it's been a terrible time for him. But we thank you, Raul. Glad you were there. Thank you. I think that's all I need to say right now. yeah, it's very, one last thing, it's very unfortunate that our children, Daniela, Toby, Sam, and Rosie cannot be here with us at the time, because of circumstances, as you all are well aware of. But we as a family, we are a family that have a special and unique bond. That is the gift from James. And we will bring James to England when it's possible to enable them and our family and friends there to pay their respects to him. But no matter when that is, we know that his spirit lives on in our hearts and memories forever. Thank you everyone for being here today to help us overcome this problem and be part of our lives. Thank you. So I know Dan volunteered kindly to read some messages from Toby. Do you mind doing the ones for Sam, Rosie?
Pressure.
They're all written. You have that, and then I'll prepare.
In case nobody knows, Dan was Toby's best man just a few weeks
The child. So this is from Toby. Obviously, you all know Toby, but Toby is James' younger brother. So I'll start. Dear James, I love you. I really didn't think this day would come for much longer. Whenever you face a hurdle, you would come out on top. My heart is broken, yet it doesn't feel truly real. You were our campfire. We huddled around for warmth, light, comfort, and hope. Your smile alone made us all of us, and anyone that saw it follow suit. One of my mates from Nebraska never got to meet you, but when Mum and Dad came to my graduation, he was lucky enough to learn about you from them. After a while, he made a comment on how lucky you were to have us as a family around you. Dad, Jim, replied, no, it is us that are lucky to have him. This statement has been true, replaying in my head over and over again because it's true. We were so lucky. You helped us as a family. You taught us to love unconditionally. You helped us be fighters. You helped us be well-rounded, inclusive, and patient. You taught us to fight for those in need. You came to all our games and supported us in our endeavors and showed us not to give up when things are going against us. Which brings me back, you eating over every hurdle. It makes me wonder, in a family full of gymnasts, rugby players, and footballers, were you the strongest of us all? We are all so proud of you for everything you powered through. You molded 6 of us into the people we are and left a mark on so many more without even saying a word to them. I love you forever, brother. So that was from Toby. This one, next one's from Sam, and it's a bit shorter because he's a man.
Surprised you got this out.
On 14th of July, I lost my big brother James. He was my #1 supporter and came to all my matches. He was loved by everyone, not just the family. He was truly a blessing, and a life will not be the same without him. Everything revolved around James to make sure he was able to be with us. He was a massive part of our family, and there is now a hole that cannot be filled. His smile shone so bright and is irreplaceable. He will be with us forever. Love you and miss you, buddy. This next one's from Rosie. On the 14th of July, my wonderful oldest brother passed away. He was the most amazing miracle my family could have gotten and was the biggest part of all of us. At any chance he could, he would be there for my parents, to support me in my rugby matches, and I just can't believe I'll never get to see him there supporting me again. With him gone, there is a massive hole in my heart that won't ever be fully filled. His smile lit up this world and will forever be missed. There are so many things I wish I did more as a sister. I wish I gave you more kisses and hugs and spent more time with you at home and taken more pictures with you. But I really wish I could have given you a bigger hug when I left. But I thought I was going to see you again. I miss you so, so much, Jamesy. No words can describe my heartbreak, and I love you. That's it.
We We have a message from Daniela, a video message, which was quite difficult for her to do, but she's done a fantastic job. Please bear with me while I try and set this up.
Little brother. James, I hope you know that there are a lot of people that can't be there in the room today that are thinking about you and loving you. Not just now during this service, but every day. So know that you are loved. I originally wrote this for your 30th birthday in 2020, and I was already missing you terribly and feeling nostalgic because I hadn't seen you in too long, even then. And obviously after everything that's happened, I read it back and I thought it's quite fitting. It kind of celebrates you. It talks a little bit about some of my fondest memories we had growing up. And so I'd like to read you the poem. Our pressed flower, brittle, beautiful. You blossomed far beyond anyone's expectation. Your eyes held so many secrets. Your smile spilled them, and we felt your love. 31 years untold, but not unlived. You are my reason. Remember the early days when we played in black sand and white flour? The nights when I, scared, would crawl into your bed because you made me feel safe. And you never complained. You always calmed me. Remember the days we all spent in water. Such mer people we were, at heart and in spirit. The hot Hong Kong days we spent surveying our siblings playing sports. Golden memories flood the distance between us. You never needed to utter a word. For us to know the warmth in your heart. You are forever my reason, James. We miss you and love you to the moon and back. Sending all my love and strength to you, Mum and Dad, especially today. I'm so sorry I can't be there. To James, he was an amazing, amazing man.
Thanks. Leon, I think you've got a few other messages, right? Good timing. It's all about timing.
Elderly.
Yeah.
Try and keep it together. Right. Anyway, to Jim and Claire, to Daniela, Toby, Sam, Rosie, and Rahul as well, from the Carrington family, my deepest condolences to you all. He was a great lad. I'll try and keep this together for you, but Well, I've got some messages to read on behalf of some friends in the UK, long friends of all of ours, and some family members. So the first one is from David Dunn, which is Claire's brother and James's uncle. Jim and Claire, I've sat down and just closed my eyes and thought about James and his life and what it meant to both of you and the kids. Then the rest of the wider family, many of whom sadly not physically have seen him for many years. Grandparents who have gone but are still with us, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc., and of course the carers. Friends in Hong Kong and in other parts of the world, those that helped in the first few months when you needed help with him, when you lived in Crowthorne. Every single person has had a place in the heart of him, and we all now have this gather, but it's now filled with memories that will never ever go away wherever any of us are. The smiles and the blimey you could tell when he was happy, although you could also tell when he wasn't. So much of your lives revolved around James when you were there and when you were not, and you have been amazing parents for all of them. I know you said about the empty feelings you have at home, the silence, but he is and will always be in your heart, and no one can ever change that. My memories are from the day you brought him to the UK and helping a bit when you were in Crowthorne, being asked to be James's godparent, that poem about a special child, which he undoubtedly was. I don't think any of us realised where his life would take the family. It was tough to see you move to Hong Kong, and Mum and Dad missed you all so much. We all knew that it was the right move at the time. I was lucky enough to get over to Hong Kong on a few occasions and to get to see him. Even then, his smile was infectious. I guess I thought this day would have come before now and was sort of prepared to say goodbye, but when it did, I wasn't prepared. I sat quietly and closed my eyes, and pictures of him came flooding back. Although sorry to say, so did the whiff when he had a case of the wind. The pictures of him with the kids and with both of you were always great to see. I will miss him, and yes, I hadn't physically seen him in a long time, and many hadn't. He was and will always be my nephew and godson, and I love him, and hopefully when the opportunity arises, I can say my goodbyes properly. David. The next one's from Jim's sister, Lisa Down, obviously Jim's sister and James's auntie. The first day that I met you, you took a precious place in my heart, a beaming ray of sunshine right from the very start. A gift was sent, our Jamesy. I will cherish our times together when you were near, when you were far. Your memory will last forever. Our rides in your wagon, our FaceTimes that we shared, our cuddles on the floor, our selfies that you bared. From splashing around in the pool, with plenty of scrumptious food, to all your favourite programmes to find that happy mood. For everything you dealt with and all of your ups and downs, you barely soldiered on, you'll always wear the crown. The happiness you brought in your own special way will be remembered with love each and every day. No words can describe the pride and gratitude too that came from having a nephew as wonderful as you. Now you have your wings, fly high into the sky. Rest in peace, dear James. It's time to say goodbye. Love you always, Auntie Lisa. Okay, this one's from a few, the next one's of a few friends that are in the UK. Some of you in KCC will certainly remember some of these classic names. So the Richards, Sam, Ian, and Izzy. Jim and Claire, we are truly sorry we cannot be there to support you through these difficult times, but our thoughts are with you all today as you celebrate the life of your beloved James. He held a special place in everyone's hearts and spread so much joy wherever he went. His infectious smile will remain with us for always. We were so privileged to be part of his life for so many years in Hong Kong, and we will cherish the memories of times we all spent together. Love and hug, Sam, Ian, and Izzy. This is from Tony and Sam Smith and the kids. And look, we just picked out a few. Jim told me earlier that there are hundreds in the book, and I encourage everybody to at least please leave a message. This is from the Smiths. James was a big part of our family life for 15 years in Hong Kong. Our 3 children grew up with James, and he would always greet us all with a big smile whenever he saw us. He will be very much missed, and all of our love and thoughts are with the whole Down family as you celebrate James's life today. Rest in peace, Jamesy. Lots of love from the Smith family. I've got one more to do. This is from the Laxtons from Pippa. Today's going to be so very hard, and I feel sick of the pain you and Jim and all your kids are going through. All I can say is that the Laxton 5 utterly love James, and his passing has left a huge void. He will live on in all of us too, sending massive love and hugs, and also realise it doesn't directly, but hopefully you know that today we're all grieving the loss of James and sending all our love to you, Jim and the kids. James is part of our whole world and will always be so. Him not breathing now does not change any of that. That's from the Laxtons. Anyway, our deepest condolences.
Thank you, everyone, certainly for coming and supporting Jim and Claire and the family today. I'm the KCC football convener and a member of the GC. There's a meeting here tonight, which is why many of the seniors of the club can't be here to pass on their respects. But I just felt it's important on behalf of the club we say a few words. The Down family have been a massive part of the KCC for at least 20 years. I was only checking the records the other day, and Jim won the Football Chairman's Award about 20 years ago. So, so the family have been a massive part of KCC in the football section, and what they've done for the football section has been amazing. And I think, as been mentioned already this evening, James on the sidelines supporting the teams with that amazing infectious smile that he has is something that I'm sure we will all remember. And as I say, on behalf of the football section and the club itself, please take our condolences, and we'll be here for you. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for those kind words, and for all of you overseas who can't be here, hopefully you can see video, but we will be back to the UK at some point. Thanks everyone. Please enjoy, finish up the food, and join me in a drink for James, and we'll raise a glass to him. Thanks very much to James here. Right, carry on.